Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Fast Forward Vidyard Sales Marketing Video Summit. My name is David Delaney, and I'll be talking through how to crack into that key account with hyper-targeted prospecting. Really excited and very thankful to Vidyard for bringing me on. Excited to talk with you guys about this. If you're not familiar with Tenbound, we are a sales development focused training and consulting firm here in San Francisco. We focus 100% on sales development performance improvement through our training, consulting, and also events programs. We put on events pretty regularly. We've got meetups each quarter and the sales development conference in September in San Francisco, which is our big event coming up this year in 2018. So again, very excited to be here. If you'd like some more information about Tenbound, I'll have the website tenbound.com at the end of the presentation. And let's talk about what we're really focused on today with cracking into those hyper-targeted accounts. We all know that the problem right now that we're facing, it seems to be getting tougher and tougher each year. We're facing it as SDRs trying to break into accounts, as AEs. The fact is, nobody really cares about your email anymore. If you're using your email box, you're either looking for, is this something that can actually help me, or is this something that can get me in trouble? And so you're kind of scanning your email box. If it doesn't fall in very quickly to those two categories, or it's someone that you recognize, it's very easy to, continue on with your day and either delete it or send it to spam. Um, and the practitioners on the call, it's the same thing. Really, when we're looking at our emails, it's like, why should anybody care about this? Why is this going to break through? And especially in the advent of mass marketing tools at our disposal, it just seems like more and more noise out there in the email space. If you take a look at my, email box just recently, I took this snapshot. Couple of quick things, over 2,100 emails sitting in my email box. So most definitely not at email zero here or inbox zero. And, a lot of requests for business appointments, requests from people who need something from me, people following up on projects. I'm scanning through. I'm again looking for, is this going to help me quickly, or am I going to get in trouble if I don't respond? Um, the other quick thing to look at is, right above the screen, I've got over 20 different tabs open and about 6 or 7 Chrome extensions. So even within my email box, I'm got a lot of different distractions, different projects happening, different tabs open, and it's just harder and harder to get my attention in the email box. One of my favorite thought leaders out there right now, Gary Vaynerchuk, calls it the attention economy that we're living in, and attention becoming a more and more precious commodity that we are fighting against. And so when you're fighting with someone like me, 2,000 emails, 20 different tabs open, 6 different Chrome extensions, it's harder and harder to break through the noise unless you can become hyper personalized and get in front of me with a message that might potentially resonate. And we all have gotten these. This is a real email I've blacked out to protect the innocent. But it's basically the problem with a lot of the emails that are coming through to start new business relationships. In that it's all about the individual. So, uh, you know, I was wondering if I could get 50 minutes of your time to show you a really cool application. Not much here that would make me really interested unless I was shopping around for a cool application, which, obviously based on the fact that I've got 20 tabs open and 6 Chrome extensions, I'm pretty good on applications right now. And I don't really know how this is going to either help me or get me in trouble. So it's easy to ignore and delete. And so, we're all aware of this problem, and we're all fighting it, and that's one of the reasons why we're on this seminar, to try to figure out, how do we rise above the noise and break through with the solution that we have, because we know that it's super valuable, and we know that we need to talk with those, especially those big accounts that could make or break our year and make or break the business. So, just the final data point, I got this from MailChimp, who sends out, billions of emails each month. There's plenty of other studies out there. MailChimp is good because they're sending out billions of emails, and they've got a wide swath of representative industries. But they were looking at, right now across industries, you've got less than a 20% open rate on emails. So about more than 80% of your emails are just being completely ignored. And even when they do open the email, you're only looking at about a 2% click rate. So not a good ratio right now. The likelihood of your email getting opened or even clicked on is diminishing each year. And we still, at the same time, we need to break through, and we need to talk to people. And email is a way to contact people, quickly and with a personalized message. And so that's what I'll kind of get into. The idea that I had, and this is from working with a client, is, okay, we know that email's losing its significance. It's getting harder to get that attention. Why don't we try something for a limited number of accounts, accounts that can make or break our business? And we've got a limited number of reps. We only had 2 people working on the sales side in this particular case. And why don't we really do a lot of hyper personalization at the upfront, and we'll bring in video as a way to potentially improve those click rates and get our message out to the buyers. And we'll start with the classic deep understanding of what are the pain points that are affecting these buyers right now that we're going after, and how specifically can we offer them something to help with those pain points. So not necessarily anything about our solution, not necessarily anything about them having to meet with us at the upfront, but really just helping them to get a snapshot from a very personalized level, and include a compelling offer that they can take. And if this offer is something that they're interested in, that would also include a meeting with us to talk through what the report is showing that's part of the offer, and how we can move forward potentially to help them. So that was the idea. We were starting basically from scratch. So we didn't have a lot of historical data to work off of, but we knew that we needed to do something different. And so when looking at this, a lot of the ideas that I had around that hyper personalization came from a book that I had read with a gentleman named Stu Heineck, who was recently featured on the sales development podcast that we run here at Tenbound. And Stu Heineck's book, How to Get a Meeting with Anyone, I would definitely recommend you checking out. His hypothesis is called contact marketing, and it's similar to how you look at hyper personalization in the marketing. So it's a complete 180 from the mass marketing, sending out millions of emails, hoping for the best, and hoping that you can hook someone with a gigantic net. As John Miller at Engagio calls it, nets and spears. So this is definitely fishing with spears, and not necessarily casting a huge wide net. And what Stu goes into is spending a lot of time on the upfront in identifying those key accounts that can make a huge difference in your business, what you would call your A accounts, usually managed by the AE team, and really narrowing that down to one persona within the account where you know the pain points in and out. You know that that persona is going to be your entry point into the account, and you can very, very specifically customize your message and your outreach to that target persona's pain points, and hopefully get in front of them. So I would definitely check that out if you can. And you know, where do we get started with this particular case that I'm thinking of? They weren't real far along with the whole outbound prospecting process. They didn't have a lot of the fancy tools that are out there to help with this, and so we had to sit down and go, okay, what do we have in our database, and how can we prioritize that for just two people that will go after these key accounts? And so this is whether you're an AE listening to the call to try to figure out how to bring in more video, or you're running a marketing team. You know, you can replicate this with you know, either a more sophisticated tool stack or a basic one. But we just basically sat down, okay, you know, what are those A accounts, you know, within our database that would make or break our business, and let's narrow those down to, you know, one vertical that we know is going to be very lucrative for us. And then, you know, we can run a report that within those accounts, you know, what kind of contact information do we have on the key target personas? Do we have their name, phone number, and email? Is it good? How fresh is it, etc.? And we'll just go ahead and use Google Docs, you know, or Excel to start making that list and getting that together. And then next is, you know, I have a symbol of a brain here, but you know, the collective wisdom of the folks, you know, at the company who have been selling to this market for years and know that, you know, that within that group of people that are working at the target accounts, there's a certain group that falls into the persona and has the pain points that we can you know, get after with the outbound campaign, and really hyper personalize to them to move them from just looking at our email and going, oh, just another email, to actually clicking on it and then actually clicking on the videos. And so once we had that list, I mean, that takes a while. I mean, it takes a while of back and forth, pulling in that resource, you know, potentially using other, you know, data collection resources and vendors to try to pull that together. But you want to get that very hyper personalized list, because you know, the next step is really predicated on that. So the next thing that we did is basically, you know, you can use Vidyard, which is an excellent tool for gathering the video. We didn't have that at our disposal in this case, so we just used the good old, we had the iPhone and a link to YouTube that we could send to folks in a private link. And we, you know, in this case, we went out, they were brick and mortar retailers who we were trying to get in front of and move the needle with their particular business, and touch on the pain points that someone who's in charge of that P&L would believe was interesting. And literally, we got the CEO involved. He would go out and stand in front of the stores and tape a message on his phone and upload it, and then, you know, we just pop that into a sequence as the first manual video. And you know, we had a very compelling subject line that would drive higher open rates, that was based on the individual research that we were doing. And we had that customized video that invited them to click. And then, you know, within that sequence, would offer to them a free report that we would put together with the findings of that visit to the brick and mortar store. So, you know, that combination in manual steps in the outreach sequence, followed by a number of follow-up phone calls peppered throughout the sequence to really drive what we were ultimately trying to get to, which was a live conversation about you know, the report that we're putting together, and how we could potentially help them to move the needle. You know, really important to use as part of the sequence. And so we had that peppered throughout the sequence because we really wanted to make sure that with all that upfront work on organizing the database and prioritizing and doing specific research, going out, you know, making a specific video, putting it into the sequence that with all that upfront work that we were driving that toward, having a live conversation and ultimately, booking an appointment to start to get that going. And so, over the course of about a month that we were doing this, we started to see some really good pickup. Obviously, one of the advantages of using a tool like Outreach is being able to see when people open the email, what kind of open rates we were getting, and then ultimately how long they were spending and their click rate. And we started to see immediate results. I mean, just in a quick report, we started to see, a double on the open rates, based on that research, and then especially the click rate. I mean, when they see that video, it drives them to do an action that they might not do if it was just a link. And then we started to see an increase in the opportunities that were logged, based on the conversations that they were starting to have. So we were real excited about um, the initial results, and we can only expect to see that continuing. And we're very bullish on using video as a key part, especially to get that click rate up. I mean, when you see a video, and especially if it's something that again uh, is relevant to the pain points that that target person would have, you can't help but get a higher click rate because it's something that seeing that video and seeing it as being relevant, it invites them to take a look at it and drive them toward. Again, I would highly recommend some kind of free offer, a free report or something like that to get them on the phone and interested in what you're doing. So as you could tell, I am very excited about video. I'm excited to start using it here at Tenbound to engage folks in our email outreach, and would love to talk with you more about it. So if video is something that you have been considering, or you'd like to look at the nuts and bolts of how we set up that program, just give us a call or shoot us a chat through the Tenbound website, and I'm happy to chat with you about how we set that up and how we could potentially do that for your business. Again, big thanks to Vidyard for bringing us on and hosting this video series. And thank you so much, and good luck with your outbound efforts.